Buddhaya
Namo
Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Gane laje gwenje togane raga chosa pongde chonde sheye yabo gwenje lo san cha seda che nende she so so dwenje nanga singde bende de che lama ye Zongga Dalo Debe Sena Xingzhou Dianbo Yide Ye Shuzo Xie Junggun Jiawe Lo Zhe To Ye Sa Le Xie Song Tabe Beji Lame Zebe Tong Le Tenbe Den Le La Jia 夜我却也那座没落那提前路，那人的叫做为啥一直去的家族，是那亲着切了却吧，看些同面的呢，上吧也乱啊，也说没个劲。天波浪东波松节灭节，宁年夜半长白梭梭，宁面对的忙的多不拉子，却也忙天中的月节，广播却也拉近在。大家上班特别依赖，其实老满当把电脑也吃过好了，现在其他上边的这什么，上也却也差不多，那么大越是引来先把送着过来，差多命啊。他们让我受过热的，谁的巴多没诺点吧？他说今年300给我，电当着我滚了旁边当，贴不了就是我上头。天边宁波人多设计，明面这边带进今日是前面的，我不江北洋对我马路中，看见这边走进中国，路上常被小了，说完的明面这边带进今日。前面前边王八江北洋推过马路，看见开边走进中国网路上特别下拉手，妹妹这边带进前的是前面前边王八江北。推过马路中在上边的，看见开边走进中。路上特别下了说完的，旁边这边老马人不 大作吉乌龙本的天学老法的前边光故中多节我主在多是光的za别拉玛人波大作宁个人本面天学老法的前边光的说到天梦我主在多是光的za别拉玛人大作宁个人本面天学老法的前边光창조 닝베바 덴바주 마산주메 셰라 파르제 마제 망가 남게 오고 소소라리 이제 주유 대선계외요 창제로 대연타 가데 바라가 바로 삼가데 보데예 소와 대연타 가데 바라 보데예 소하 대연타 가데 바라 보데예 소 게레 동다 자주 시와다 메데 제베 제다偏帮着心配中头也嘞有少些别有多。赵呀哩呀喽呀哩呀耶的耶巴呀的三耶多。灭也当古若热闹，
三界车
道也中南那扬州马多那内也说，大概去就是这边从南边落了天界上界多吧，
三界车
大界中南那扬州马多那内也说这样，大概去就是这边。
诸法修三界舍多多耶舍多多舍舍巴的，那个学习几个多些
罗边这上界
诸法修，是不是他们也都是让他们要到我这边上就红包是不是那个他们是第一的，他们学3年，不能城市是这么生但是不是？
I would like to remind all of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the highest form of motivation. We call it altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived altruistic bodhicitta, Changju, the same motivation, we should participate in this Bodhisattva discourse and practice.
我在心中的电视的，连这些你都个经过的有的，每个是那个有的毛把呢，你看啥？永远就是我的空多了嘛些，我听嘛学的。
So we we'll continue. We will left off in this Bodhisattva Way of Life last week. And of course, in this extensive commentary on the guide, a lot of sutras are cited to substantiate the points of the contentions.
Nami sawa so so den rang leji ti rang leji ti odu me sigba yendu dung she so se gewala tonye je se doba chabu kun lang de se yila samba yigi mombe gone se gewali se ke sakbe ni kewe ni kanda kandi doa chuba teta terene ngar sakbe sonu gewali ti kewe nami je dribu yidi wongi penyo je ngombar penyo je ngombar chube se doa nyosu joa ino se o te da gedu le de kaji so mo pa de dunga kaji nyo de mege jure oris dewa kaji nyo yungu de ge jure oris se de mo pa ne so yungu res o de dol so ya dire doa dol se de da je men da je men ja shibe ma da shewai dibelegi doata Harudun Shiva Yus, Odita, Julian Moban, they do the sort of new to Haku is Tibetaku Marisiwada. Because Paradin Shiva Jur, Chede Shiva Mesewar, Shiva Lene Shivana, Shivata, Nashi Nani Tinijes, Namisawa, Social Ten, Rangi Legio, Tio de May Sigma Hindu. Dong xie so se, o so me se wa se na, ta de so ka gwa de diwa ko shi ra, na me je me ji ko ju mo je fa me shi xie de, en mo ba ne en shi ta de je wa shi ma le ti de so nyu al ju nya ze nyu go res, wa shi de ji de le de le ko ji shi shi go res, ha ta te ji de ma ju.
So as Geshe explained, in a sutra, it is stated that every one of us, what we will experience in the future, happiness or unhappiness, or good and bad, are due to our own karmic actions. And so all the unwanted things that will happen in the future will be brought upon by negative karmic actions, and all the goodness what we seek will be brought upon by positive karmic actions. And so when we go through the outcomes or the results of good and bad karmic actions, then we, based upon our phenomenological subjective experiences, that we will have a sense of how good and bad actions lead to good and bad outcomes. And so thinking about the infallible natural law of karma, how it brings all the positive and negative experiences, we should develop conviction in the natural law of karma and follow it accordingly. As Geshe explained, that at the moment, out of carelessness, of indifference, if we find ourselves indulging in wrong actions, negative actions, in the future, they will bring unwanted sufferings because of the cause and effect relationship between negative karmic actions and negative results, and cause and effect relationship between positive karmic actions and positive results. So the bottom line is this: we have to contemplate, reflect upon the consequences of the natural law of karma and develop conviction in how, right, we experience different things in accordance with the type of karmas that we ourselves create and accumulate.
我这些手给拉头年就都把这不滚的浪的，一了300一个没被滚的，给来写信，300你9月你可能看的着去啊，贴的贴呢，那我300是说能的，说能给来的，给为那么一直不一定问。他用尽管把它头设备是，都要娘是娘啊，就话一弄是，一来300些万呢，对吧的没被那么多人了，天天一级现在的一级，也是这点呢，差不多是天把送了，认为现在希望在这样，这样模式。我这可是的，可是给历史是毛不叫看的可见我的知不的，也的多他比的没有个是，现在这里一现在是呢，现在是特别，现在是多么个多样去考虑了，这个时候是可是用个的我的一希望的用个的时候，他而且这位那么一直一直用朋友连我把这学位是。多年是用教育诺啥，一了300些万年，对吧？的毛病那么多人了，这里一级现在一级是几点呢？是差不多人把送了，认为现在希望得等着年模式，所以一现在是那着。认为现在的罗就在咱这样的快乐中的给你下了天的，如果说这就年度这刚刚的就是当时来的，一基本就是那个人，可是他另外一来上的来可能就搞这个说的，可跑下的什么什一来下人家，那体就是那那可对那个学生嘛，这个留说是每个人是，看到连这还是学呢。我听你们的说的那个人，现在现在是不给，可是你这娘是用把中间这不，现在我听到的说的，已经是上了的，他来带的，那我妈妈把你们说用个这是个人。
As Geshe explained, so what determines the kind of positive and negative experiences that we go through here or in the future are determined by the kind of karmic actions that we ourselves create and accumulate. So that this natural law of karma, is very important, right? That determines what we will experience in our life. And so because we would like to have all the good things happen to us here and in the future, so it is to our advantage, so to speak, that we develop a strong aspiration to engage in positive actions karmic. So we want to reflect on how positive karmic actions bring forth positive results that we are seeking, and we should develop strong aspiration in doing them. And so that way, so we are able to, how should I say, kind of find the right direction, for our future. The example or the metaphor used in the commentary is, that of a chariot, or in modern world, it's a vehicle, right? Olden days, it's a chariot. They ride chariots to go somewhere. So they said we drive, we don't ride chariots. So vehicle. And so our mind, metaphorically speaking, is like a vehicle, so that can take us to wherever we want to go. Yeah. And so we do accumulate karmic actions, good and bad, physically, verbally, and mentally. Of these three things that every one of us has, body, speech, and mind, mind is the primary, right? Whatever the mind says, pretty much the body and speech really follows the instructions, so to speak. And so mind is a primary vehicle, right, that can take us where we want to go. And if we don't take care of our mind as a vehicle, then engage in negative actions, then it will, bring us in the wrong direction, so to speak, where we will experience, negativities and problems. And the thing that we should remember is this: once we have accumulated karmas, good or bad, they will bring their results, good and bad, accordingly. Right? Karmas do not get confused on the way. It is as if good karmas will, somehow bring some bad results, and the bad karmas will bring some good results. That never happens. There's a certainty of karma, right? One of the major aspects of the karma, that positive actions of the karmas will produce positive results, negative actions of karmas will produce negative results. And because we want positive things, so therefore we should aspire to do the positive things, because we don't want negative things happen. So therefore we should stop or prevent ourselves from doing negativities. Otherwise, even if we happen to create accumulate karma, negative karmas, carelessly or through some indifferent attitude, still these negative karmas, they leave their imprints on our mind, because mind is the vehicle that carries the imprints of good and bad karmas that will ripen, right, in the future as good and bad. And then who will experience those good and bad? We ourselves, because we did it. Right? So these are the important things to be considered.
Jide Shimal Dewa do Yidi Landria Bushoguri said that Dredge.
So Geshe-la's reading of the extensive commentary and explanation that I already did, and which I will translate now, pertains to stanza 40 on page 93, if you have the same English translation of the guide that I'm using by Stephen Bachelor's. And the stanza 40 reads, the Mighty One himself has said, meaning Buddha, that aspiration is the root of every facet of virtue. Its root is constant acquaintance with the ripening effects of actions, unquote. And so again, as Geshe-la continued to explain, that in a sutra, it is stated that individuals who accumulate a lot of positive energy or merit, punya, sonam in Tibetan. So these merits will follow them into in the future, in the next life, like good friends, and then this will produce, wanted results, what you would like to have. Because virtue or merit, positive energy is the source of all the things that we are seeking, the goodness. So therefore, if there's nobody in the universe who do not want happiness and good things happen to himself or herself. So the peace, happiness, and goodness, all of things that we are seeking, they arise from merit or positive energy. And so therefore, we must create or accumulate positive energy. When we talk about our practice of langdor, abandonment adoption, right, which is the practice based upon the natural law of karma, we do not want any kind of suffering, pain, and unwanted things happen here. Therefore, we must not do negativities and abandon negativities. Okay? Because we want happiness, goodness here and hereafter in our future lives. Therefore, we should adopt or we should practice positive karmic actions. So that's called the practice of abandonment and adoption or cultivation. And why? Because the law of karma determines what we will experience, here and hereafter.
Ona Geva Duma, Devi Mubegoni, Diwashaja, Deva Joy, Jurjorana, Dedu Yeni Legi, just drawing Inji. Deva just Shiva made Diva Mika Shiva, Kasa D. Dribu Deva Nyan Devi, Deba Yoja, Chuni Ni Kana Kandi, Draw Joy, Kenny Teda Tene. Tenengar sabi digbati chebe dungenji soa tumo sunji number joba jobe so tetariang de ngama les dole dile dribu ngeba ne sunji joba mishikang digbe lege doata haru de ngombar jur khandi tene teda namine sa sozo de temba ye digbe leje doata paru tene shibar jur sheda danyi dewa dewe cher goje digbe leje digle ti namita goshi nyasu nyawan jur she song sosa ta tire ya ne sozo muwa tire na mueva de ya lleva mueva she en el shea de diva she de dibu de dewa jugur se de yungu maris le khona khari de gedu khari di dibu yungu maris en de du se de mueva de mi do to maris le khona she da gari se or tira ya mo be ko diva she juwe junya de du yin le jiz da yin dewa da jiz shiva me de diva be ko she be khosa ti Dribu dewa nyosu nyoan dwe be, dwe ba yu jan. chunyi niri kanda kandi roa jiwi, kene teta tene ngarsabi dikwa ti jewi, dungi soa zumu sonji nambar joma jiwi so, tetar yang do ngamali, dili dribu ngeba ni, sonji chewa mishi kyang, dikwa ligi roa ta paru dini ngombar jiwi, kandi teta nammi ni, saa soso tomba ye, dikwa ligi dributa paru dini shewa jiwi, she dangasa, dāngi dewa dewe shir goji dikwa le shewe dikle te nami da goji nyansi nyawan jir she song so se o tere da dedu sayat so si dewa dewa shukna sayat dungi mido sayat se mweba tine pen to marisi sida le kora ene le jigawa she na dribu dewa shunga Because dribu dunga nyuwa le so nami yere mata deba ta diji do maris se da te dedu de mama ba lamsak be mika shi dikwe chong zu ba dido chong za na lamsak no yo ko mari di ku mama ba dribu di nyong da in lende dribu so ye de shi da dikwa shi na mama ba jiwa jima na so dunga nyuwa da Yoshi the tea do the Dewa Mother in the they do the Muvatam do to Marisu, Lesang Karsa, what is a dog race. Mother Suzu Soya Deva she had lay because she jana, and what did Deva Junto Maris. So that they do so new at the Lake Koro, she lay mother Suzu Muvatan drop to Maris, what I
So as Geshe read from the extensive commentary and explained, so when we think about the certainty of law of karmic actions, positive karmic actions will or certainly produce positive results, and negative karmic actions will or certainly produce negative results, and they never get messed up or confused with each other in producing the results, because that is not in the law of nature. Yeah. So because of that, we ourselves have to, accumulate the karmic actions, to find, happiness and goodness in our life. Simply aspiring for or wishing for things will not going to happen. Yeah? Let's say an individual aspires for all the goodness and happiness, but what he ends up doing is all negativities. So what he will get is all the negative results, even though he aspires for goodness, because the karmic actions will determine what he is going to experience, not what he really wanted or wished for. The same thing, we, how should I say, do not wish for suffering, but then we end up creating a lot of negativities, and then these negativities will bring the suffering we don't want. And so as we said before, there is a cause and effect relationship between actions and their results, right? Positive actions are the causes of positive ripening results and other results, positive things. And negative karmic actions are the causes of negative ripening results, which is the main result, and other negative results. Yeah. So it's not simply that I would like these things to happen, as if we don't have to engage in actions. Because whatever actions we find ourselves doing, this will determine, regardless of what aspirations or wishes we have. So the lesson we take from this is that we have the personal responsibility to create the necessary actions that will bring forth the results that we are seeking. Otherwise, we will end up getting what we don't want.
Dañi devan deve çırız. Göz dikme leçeve. Dile diye nami ta. Göz nyavsu nyamancu. Şeson sose. O dire da. Kaje dedu se aydi. Eni müvaza indu marisi. Ko le kora çırna krise. O dire di. Dañi devan deve. So devan deve şey. in the goods, the way the way goods, it is a Guba say, I did consumers now you get the email zero. What is in the diverse yes, I didn't do the any moment. So the doing yams in yoni. And the Muguas in yams in yoni, didn't you get the jail? And got Karsadi. Muvata, the other did permission. He do doing her and sugar mother jail. Movies Gito Maris. They do say they lay on the cut Karsi at Tilmado. So there was a teacher's dogma.
Uh, so as Geshe, explained that, we don't get simply wishing for things to happen, or what we might think that I deserve this. What really actually is going to make the difference is the kind of actions, karmas, that we ourselves create and accumulate. And let's say we wish for all the good things and the best of everything, but our life is kind of distracted by all kinds of things, and we are very careless in our behaviors and actions, in which case this carelessness produced all the negativities will bring the kind of unwanted sufferings, regardless of what we really think we deserve or we wish for. Okay? And so the bottom line is that karmas are the causes of our good and bad life experiences, or happiness that we are seeking, and unhappiness that we do not wish for. And so when we create karmas, we shouldn't expect as if the results will be just right here and now, under our eyes or the nose. Karmas take time, right? They may produce results in the future, right? And so if we do something bad now, we may not experience anything bad right away in the moment, but because we did the negative or the bad action, it will produce the negative result in the future.
Oh, dear, dear, Karsa, Jiu高远他的因为连这他们说是写完了，jiu高远连连的城市什么那么，面对性的是买你那个当这个什么经济吧买一去，买一个特别些个了解了说嘛是，上去的自己就完了，第那个桥梁切不是。也途径，挺好啊。没这说一草里切不的旁边，阳性，嗯，阳性等也吃了一种吃什么的，对我这边是人家思维切不接着的呢，也不是看到这边是。Dharma show gave se peme nyingbo data gawe gade show deva nehi soya kiwa mezame se yi gave se pege yi sakchu soali kiwa de kiwa oba bela sobe se gawe sumya nyingbo yana chuju ta debe lekbar debe tabechu yila tabechu yi dewar shebe rojo da debe se Shese ki ligi sendantan jeva sheba wa jeju yi sheba rasa negi teme me kuye ki nigo tobi zeri ki sheba nemba shendu dungen ki sowa yunga le sheba di jeva toba te di jeva pe lu yungso mibe se tu kene Türkiye'nin Kenya le Hongkong 这边我的我是也做的看些的，也有些为没到 me do pe ma lu juan am ya lu che wala ce da pe shi ye zeba zebe gulu sho di jwa nga wa je yu zi che wala pa ma so ta me ji ju yu so zeba le che wala di jwa nang de jwa la so be se je di no che ngara ne ne ti shu yin chung a de che wala je shu de da da de be se de wa shi ba nang je se 세수 네 식도 남아가에 레게에 제와 저로스 다다가지도 데도 그 드부서도 뉴스야디 시다디 데려야 드부 양해도 제디 가와데 제 나와다 애니냐마 드레 뭐고요 다 저주스바 제와네도 애네 나도 그게 코에나리아 마에게 제와 이 너와 그 누가 좀 거서 매봐 애니 이 테마도 매봐 애들 답에 현금 빼면이 뭐 줄게네 이게 그게 누피기도 가 사지 오바메 들어가 그 우그 세계다 최소 뭐 되게 제니 엔 대화모도 등해서 용거 도시네 용거야 뒤에 대화제니 게다 엔 되게 동해요 말이스 당어서다 대베스 감스 이게 이게 테마다 되게 동해서 님 저거 시다 디서도 제다시디서 비게아들 rimbajo mabo yorista shaju seba che en teleyan dacho bajo tiol masujo le garo sa karbo yagbo singajo en sojo tamyo lemring ro sigena le rimba mabo yogro se le rimba mabo yorisota.
So all the things Geshe explained earlier, I realized they pertain to stanzas 41, 42, and 43. And so what he just read and explained pertains to stanza 44 on page 94. So I'm not going to read the long line stanzas there. Let's translate Geshe's explanation. So what we said earlier is this, that it's not just enough to aspire for the happiness and goodness to happen. We must follow up our aspiration in virtue with actions, because good actions or positive actions will bring the results that we are aspiring for or seeking. Otherwise, we can wish for everything goodness happen, but we end up carelessly doing all the negativities, and what we will really get are all the unwanted sufferings. So in general, good actions or positive actions produce positive results, negative actions produce negative results. But then the natural law of karma is very complex, and so depending upon the intensity of the karma and other factors, sometimes karmas can produce incredible positive outcomes. Sometimes karmas can produce moderate outcomes and other types of outcomes. So it depends upon the intensity of karmic actions and other factors that go along with that. And so it is in that context, as Geshe read and explained, that in the case of bodhisattvas, one example given here is that bodhisattvas, because of their very powerful merit or positive karmic actions, they do experience incredible positive outcomes or the results. Such as that, they, are born from the beautiful, lotus instead of from the womb of the mothers. Coming out of the womb of a mother is, in some sense, painful, not only for the mother, for the child. Right? I mean, you have to stay in the mother's womb for 9 months and 10 days, or just give and take a few days here and there. And it's very suffocating inside, really. It's a narrow path there. It's not like a spacious space you have there. And at times it's a very foul smell inside the womb. And then at the delivery time, I mean, you come out crying, right? That shows, right, what's happening, painful. And so bodhisattvas, because of incredible positive actions of marriage, they avoid taking birth. They could from the womb of the mother like us, and they can born out of a very pristine, spacious, incredible, beautiful lotus flower. That smells so good, right? And so not only that, they're born out of that, but at the time of that, they might even get welcomed by the other deities, and they hear the Dharma from teachings from Buddhas, and all these incredible things happen to them, and because of the power of their merits, and then there's case of how they could be born in the Sukhavati Pure Land, paradise, right? If you're born in the Sukhavati land, you're not going to have a suffering of birth. You are not going to go through many of the sufferings that we experience in the desire realm of existence, right?
어디 저로 되네. 는 제멜레지 세게지 미치부 미 예게지 메타부 제줄에 채워도 파비 제줄로스 사라가서 토비 셔즈나니 민데히니 메예디 미지기 도저 저나시 제제도 되는 도와놓으려자 손을 씹어대다 심을가 니가 가디 되는 라드가 레는 미도 대가 라드가 조상부 송라 시시가 셰도 송래 거시시나 미동신 가시 내대와이 남이 소설 대바이 레드타네 신나리 셰바타로스 근데 저알린도 다 소금이 다다 저기서만 인식보고 저알린 직세 대화자서 깨지 다 되네 학바에서 다 인식 깨야 되죠 어디 깨도 저를 어떻게 셔 봐요 그래서 지당도现在你khoa 깨도 되다 먼저 메다 들어가서 깨도 신의 레게 매일 배 동네 뭐뭐는 깨야지 엔 빼면이 뭘 주리게 이제 등에 매어지 파바드 레드 보고 란산에 배 주게시야지 야가 뭐 보여리스 가가니 예레 지바이네 예수 쇼종게 노시 멘다요 되나시는 미가레라 미가 미야게라야 레 가서 쇼쇼 뭐 보여라시다 레가가 지바 말스 저 뭐 보여리스 대야지니사레
So as Krishna read and continue to explain the extensive commentary, the point or the main contention here is that in general, positive karmic actions produce positive results and negative karmic actions produce negative results. That being said, right, all positive karmic actions are not one and the same thing. They are not on the same level. Right? Because some are extremely strong and powerful, incredible. Others are moderately powerful. Others are so-so, So according to the degrees and the intensity of karmas, right, different results will be produced. Now that's the same with negativities as well, right? Negativities, strong will produce different kind of results. The moderate will produce different kind of results, and the so-so will produce different kind of results, And so that's what we are discussing. Even when we talk about being born, there are many ways to be being born, right? In our case, right, we are born from the womb of the mothers, right? And so whatever experience that comes with it, that's what we have been through, right? We stayed many months in the womb of the mothers, and then, we experience whatever pain at the time of delivery, and all of those things are our experience related to our karmic actions, isn't it? But then, some of the bodhisattvas, they can choose to be, born out of the pure, pristine lotus bloom, right? That's their karmic results. And bodhisattvas, especially who are transcendental bodhisattvas, we call Aryas, such as the one on the first spiritual ground or the bhumi called joyful ground, Rabka, right? They get to choose how they want to. That's how such bodhisattvas they come into samsara or wherever they want to be out of great compassion. Great compassion is the motivating factor. And because of their level of realizations, they get to choose how they would like to be reborn. So it's very different. And then some, by the power of powerful aspirational prayers, combined with other things, they're able to be reborn in the Sukhavati paradise, right? Pure land. And that's a very different experience. So all of these are results of good karmas, but they're still different, isn't it? So depending upon the intensity of the karmas. And as Geshe said, as we're talking about the good karmas, but we must also, on the other side of the coin, so to speak, are the bad karmas, negativities. So depending upon the intensity of the bad karmas, we could be in the hell, we could be somewhere else, right? So negativities also can produce great suffering, moderate suffering, and other kinds of negative results.
Tenen doa longle si sonam shevan derga che shemarga nika ga de tene radu ga lene mi do teda tega radu ga doa sambo son de shi ga sheda somle kaji shi na midong shi ga shi yin dewa di nami sozo de bai le de tani shena le shewa taros shera ge le ta yakyu zo izere wadi kanje doa lunga de sonum shewa de gas de sedele ya ede ko diva majisa jibo yugro yo chema lan di diwi mo gagro shera di ga gagre chikshe le nami tong le nami do de da ra digas ta le de nam ya yabu yewa za ne be de du le dibeso nyo goza yo jo le de yi shewa ga yugro diwa doa sangbo song da shi gas and ya did ke wale ne de dunge me de tele yang jo ga res but that because yo pyo de ya ta song de se che ji song za di ro ko ji shi na me do ji ga ji ne de wa ye na mi so da te ba ye le de da de shi na lex shi ta this is ko ji shi na se this de wa ko ji shi na me do shi le kha yi she na in le se le dunge da de za de nge ga ji yi de wa je ge na mi yi de wa nyu ya ge wa de le de ni ji mi ji she ko re wa de se ko da le ga ji ge wa do ko ri bi ge wa shi ge ma ri se da to da den de wa de re ya.
So in the extensive commentary, there is a citation from another text called Durva Lung, literally means the oral transmission of the Vinaya or monastic ethics or discipline. And as Geshe explained, that if we or someone creates marriage, which we call it positive action, and so these positive actions can produce positive results in this life and also in future lives. So in other words, we could be happy in this life and we could be happy in our future lives because of the positive karmic actions or merits. And so once we think about the law of karma and we develop conviction in this infallibility of how the law of karma works, then we find ourselves joyfully following the law of karma, isn't it? So then observing karma is not a pain. Geshe didn't say that. I was going to say pain somewhere, but it is a joy. Because now I want all the happiness and I can do all the positive things. It's very joyful to engage in that because of that conviction, And then it also cited Tsom. Tsom is collection of Buddha's miscellaneous discourses. And so where basically we are exhorted into doing the positive things. It says that if we find, when we do positive action, we feel good about it, isn't it? So that's that, feeling good while you're doing it. And then we also know that this good karmic action can produce a good ripening result, right? There's something good to look forward to as well, right? And such are the nature of good karmic actions, positive, and we should be willing, be happy to do positive actions.
哦，他净的那位连着的，送就说你个每个连全部上边考察，参见那时候叫那让给连年呗，安给是，那位新旧方向就是容易是，娘就是的，得比那你要把乡下的那个地绿的。爸爸妈妈把从小都没让的把我弄去是，学的吃完学呗，读年级现在娘他把是就是，他都这么是，土地没了讲让的啥也是，你没学呗，上学考嘛地绿了，弄的什么就业，读年学习的时候干了，那也都是随便。这个浪漫的没啥的包围，热着的东少，从小这个样啊，两女白是菜，下一顿不吃完了些吧，家长怎么小些大型，他们觉得没学的包围是像是也些龙王，年轻的准备东西了，两种怎么样这玩意？参灭党是学问所净土那不是净土那不是那位连每个月是每个年不是欠了，成么不是呗？永远就是我天呐，多弄嘞，你不是呗？你这什么这一个是第一让的是连民众提出让的是。主要你把送啊，信心这现在从来康熙西北农就是前面农药没些的，那么说是对吧？也连着他呢，没事了，现在我基本上他的这个他那个城市西北的这个个人联系，他的每个上面的什么是个时尚刚刚创业连的，这个那个的人。我听到的咱这你那个不是说这个连我这边你记不别，从小差不多是忙不动的钱呢，你买的我说买了呗，对吧？我说买了啥？知道那我说买那这现在别那真的学过是买啥样是就按照新鲜的买的这啥玩意儿了，现在买了样俺路些什么样了，现在你买的他。我这边只是里头边俺的吃小孩的，你知道驴子把生的别差的刚刚生的，那驴把土不接也拿着把差的我知道东西用过是，俺这的是呢，书包把差起了走啥的草用过嘛是吧？我的要是听用过的时候是吧？我的这东西也是时候的，生的那边来些的啥的。
티 거는 냐야 되게.
라.
차게 동네 냐야 되게 그냥 그런 남시 요소 거를.
그런 레지 남기 쇼고 나이 샤고라다. 시차 비게 수고도 가가 쳤잖아. 그 차 매수도 그 누가 소하는 거서.
So earlier we talked about you know the positive karmic actions, and we said positive karmic actions can vary in terms of their intensities and other things. And so we looked at the example of bodhisattvas, very powerful, meritorious, positive karmic actions that could result them being born from pristine, spacious, good smell, lotus bloom, and welcomed by, kind of one and all. And so all the great things like that. Or they could decide to be born in the Sukhavati Pure Land. And so they could avoid all the suffering related with the womb, birth kind of thing. So those are kind of examples of some incredible outcomes of incredible meritorious karmic actions. Okay? Now, the same could be said in a sense about the negativity as well. Negativities can be very strong and can produce incredible suffering results. So in stanza 45, you find the description there. And so example is that if we create and accumulate a very serious, powerful negative karmic action, such as killing. Okay? And so this is where we talk about, it's not only that we have done the action, but we have done it in every meticulous way from the beginning to the end. Then we have accumulated it. It's not a karmic just done, karmic done meticulously and karmic accumulated meticulously. I know we're talking about all these different aspects of the karma here, right? For some of you think like, what is he talking about, all this meticulous thing? The karma, right, for what we call full-fledged karma, for lack of a better word in English, is a karma that is done meticulously with my footnote, motivation, and that's done in such a meticulous way, action, and that completes in a meticulous way, the conclusion. And so then we really, that is like a 100% karma, right? That's what we're talking about. So that kind of negativity of killing can produce like meticulous results in the form of being burned and tortured in the hell. That's what the description is here, right? In the case of doing heinous crimes, or taking the life of father or mother, or killing, so we could find ourselves being reborn in the hell, and where the henchmen of the yamas, the Lord of Death, henchmen meaning the yes men of the yamas, they are ever ready to be able to carry out their duties, that we could be chopped into pieces, our skin is peeled off, by them, and we are pierced by all these daggers and the incredible weapons that they have. And so we are burned in the hellfire, which is not just a regular fire, right? Even our regular fire, right, is quite hot. But then it depends. Like even with the ordinary fire, it depending upon what kind of fuel you put into it, isn't it? It is said that if you put the juniper tree and the sandalwood, the fire is going to be stronger. But if you put the cow dung or something, it's going to be less strong. You know what I mean? But the hellfire is, much more incredible flame and fire than the ordinary fire that we know of. And so we get cooked into such fire. We almost become indistinguishable with the flames of the fire. And then our body is kind of, dismembered like anything. I know I'm becoming very specific here. And our blood is, running everywhere. But even the drops of blood, it is said, I checked with Geshe, will experience suffering. I said, what does that mean, Geshe? Every blood has some consciousness or something. It doesn't. Somehow, by the power of the karma related to that karmic action, every drop of the blood that is splattered everywhere also feels so much pain or the suffering. And so such incredible negative result is due to incredible negative karmic action that we accumulate.
Dona jewa sui yang sa sowa dungi we napa jengi dungi tana nira dachim che yu la jewa tabu wang mekyo le chungwa yin bia nye je se ge le dungi rung mi si la te kido sowa simbe napa jengi dewa tana sanye di jewa na long siwa langpa la teni jewa tabu yiga te gewe le zhuwa nye ji meka le dewa zhuwa mesi de luchab je meka le dungi ku te ki ngendo tamshi to gewa le de dewa tamshi ta jewa ku de dewa ta je suwa ta rosa le nye ba se adi kaya da dungi chamu nira dachiba diga da jeke dungi rup te ziro 어디 참고 수지니까 미게 리브리스 다 개vel 리브리스 찬예다 주는 게 롱스브 이제 저 드래그 개vel 리브리스에서 제 얘도 레디 소소 예세야디 미가월 동안 중하다 겨 가서 Mika dewa junga da gewa dunga junga wo isi wo ma shida lede ye bari so so ti da dunga chugyo da chuma da jeka na ji de bi wara wadi gi dunga chamus dunga ene mika libres shida le ye be su sa ba se wo la ne da te jo mare wadi karshi da dewa khade ji na dewa khade de gewa ju da dunga khade chugyo khade na mika ju bo ye de ma Gel le dibu dunga cha de mege le dibu dewa cha de ta yo marwa ti yo le de show do ro cheda le ye ba se de odi ke se de sare
Can Chachamba de Kiaga Nachi Tunga Yusum again.
la
Chachamba de Kiaga Nachi Tunga Yusum.
dunga yo ro odi dunga show show re di na ko ma so
Chachamba King
muso ba de yo mar di na di mege do re singa ma
Chachamba Kiava the Nava Gavach.
odi da dunga ka se dunga yo shin je mege di ba cha wa ta ko
Pay the Chachamba Shagor.
ori la
Tunga Tava de Miguel Debra Chachamba Kiaga Najusum again.
o da de ka na ji yo ro
Chachamba.
yo re
I know.
na ya shi ya ga yo ro yo re 상제 리오마라 뭐 니나다 소리야로
So as Keshala read from the extended commentary and explained that here, as Keshala highlighted the point itself that we are talking about the certainty of karmic actions in terms of the results they bring. Okay? So as we said this few times before, that positive karmic actions will definitely, certainly produce positive results. Negative karmic actions will certainly and definitely produce negative results. That's what we call certainty of karmic actions. And so that is even like in terms of the major and minor aspects of the karmic outcomes, so even a little bit of like a trouble or problem is due to, even a minor suffering is due to negative karma. Of course, the major is definitely. Even a minor positive result is also due to positive karma, and needless to say about the major positive outcomes. And so the example, which I double checked with Geshe because I don't think I'm hearing it wrong or something. So for example, say due to negative karmic actions, one is reborn in the hell and being tortured in the hell fire. That's intense heat and suffering. But due to some positive karma, you might experience a momentary cool breeze, right? That sweeps through, like, right? Even that momentary cool breeze is due to the positive karmic action, not because of the negative, And then another example given is how, like, this minor sometimes problems, even the arahats experience in terms of birth and sort of aging. So I double checked it, like, you really mean arahat, right? I don't say, he said, yeah, I'm not the Buddha. Buddha is also arahat, right? But the other kinds of arahats, sometimes, right, due to like some negative results of the outcome, they do experience suffering of birth or related to death. So that is also due to negative karmas. So the bottom line is this, that karmas can never get confused in bringing their results. That's just not in the law of nature.
어, 다 되네 가르르르나. 대인으로 타지도 게레 된도 담제다 저 송수 폐체외제 내 폐체와네스 솜레 디바충을 세베짱 지데 바로 직매 직신당 풍주시험 시주때 콩바라송에 도시노 콩바라송에 도시노 손을 쉬고 시베짱 지데 바로 대신에 도시 다정 시주때 르부조 민바시 시에스 레슝 레 리부셔보 중하다 정률레장 디바슝 타라야 메노냐디 나메자 메다슝 타기짱 자봉 레좀 세바시 시에다 여와슝 타라야 메베냐디 녜메샤 최 디바 사바예 那些人就看完就是写诵的是列片写书的多浓缩的浓缩列的多别多的能力，我就说他们的也把他给是，他给写吧写呢，也不写吧抄是，我这他列片下噻的，可是就是你们什么家，反正我是这样的，他这爱什么子呢？爱什么弄多这个呢？弄多要不说弄多这个，你们这爱什么弄多这个，爱什么东张东过是吧？我听说有列片下是吧？是吧？我听到一些是。来拍小孩噻，对我的，那这个是同时，那看看每个同样子的这原因子，我就知道这的，那你也看到了，看见你们多这的，觉得你也这的多这么有么吧？我这东家长东家可是那个来拍小孩噻，我的，来可能从中是为呢，可知不的呀，毛主啊，这个是我从是为着来拍小孩上呀，是吧？这是我的，现在听说的。那边你把收入呢，把国家的，给我收入呢，中国的开始中国是呢，你偏向谁的中国是吧？
The next this read from the commentary explained that pertains to another aspect of the law of karma, which we call it Pelsheva, increasing nature of karma. That's how I translate it. So what it means is that, even a small positive or negative karma action, it can produce big results in the future. And so therefore, we must not underestimate, the small positive and negative action. Because it's small, why should I do it? Why should I care? Don't do that, because this will, due to the increasing nature of the karmic action, they can produce huge results. And so as Geshe explained, that, we find a lot of examples, that can help us understand this better. Like the farmers cultivate their crops, right? They only put small seeds and then they get back bumper crops, isn't it? You put like, few rice seeds and then you get a whole rice harvest there. You put few, what we call barley seeds and then you get like, this bumper harvest back. Or that you kind of put few seeds of the corns and then you get the whole field of corns back. And so just like that, the small positive and negative actions can, due to increasing nature, produce big results in the passage of time. So that works with both positive and negative actions, okay? Equally, most.
哦，这是个是啊，没写都是给我兄弟写送的是，你配写为是兄弟的多浓缩，连这都没多的能力，是我就为他们的学把他给。写吧写的，也把写吧写我是，这偏小些的那多大知道，看见连接吧写是我的，就是我的连接都没知道的，我呀你这个给这个连冲出去吧，就是什么鸟个逻辑嘛不有了，我听见的，这个老呢，你也把写他们写过的时候，他好像。
So in order to educate ourselves about this increasing nature of karmic action, it is suggested that, we study, those sutras which particularly deal with, law of karma and its, aspects. That includes the transmission of what we call Durva Lung, the monastic discipline, or the Le Gyaba. There's a sutra called 100, Action Sutra, literally translating here, right? And there are other sutras as well. So by reading those sutras, then we should be able to convince ourselves that I need to respect even a small positive and negative karmic action, because this can, with passage of time, can produce huge results. And so the takeaway lesson is that, don't avoid doing a small positive action because we think this doesn't matter. No, they do. And don't just indulge in small negative action. We think, who cares? Like, no, because this will produce huge results in the future.
我对他的连拍笑三些，他的是的，连马西巴的没这巴的，西巴修没啥三的，连马西巴的没这是，所以也得连啥没能你们用过马来西，他啥才会修的，那个想怎么着马西那我个这用我的也玩了吧，是的，对，马西巴的没这吧，西巴修没啥，修没啥。连啥？那这个用我开始其实西巴修啥着我是吧？我天，连马西巴没这是那的连这学着这些。连马西巴的没这吧，西巴修没啥哇？那大着没多嘞是，这现在这个民族没，现在西巴少就没，现送吧，现送了，千万跑都来讲，超市那里给的他，一百零些跑啊嘛，就西巴修没啥，马西巴的没这送，现在。来家吧，说是来来呢，啥的秘密，多少秘密，身边碰不把些了，民都写的，有些在来呢，给把家养学没事，写说吧，打罗啥，但连马西巴的没是吧，学没啥事，马西巴的没这把事呢，说是可是也得来啥名的地，你们都用啊，要嘛的是。个啥月呢？那地个没给我是那边，可是啊，像什么西门地这边用呀的，给我呢，地这边不空中毛主任这边电话用呀，我的他学人家，七八岁没啥啥的，这我七八岁没啥啥的些，等到这边到这也是，可是啊，到这边这样，现在人文民族们。现在这边用个修马的时候的，现一些吧，早晚就往面是这，现在是所有嘛是现一些要所有这边用过嘛的时候，就往面先送了，千万跑度来讲，超市那里也得他先把联系跑完嘛，确实先把去没啥，马上把它切回去，现在来家我说。连那啥的多的没，新北瀑布把些个没都写等，有些他连了呢，给把家呀去没的写送把到了，我是不他联系七八去没啥话现在，那马西吧没这事，七八去没啥话现在都连都开始呢，这个不年不个的，看着的叫门呢，看着没呀的，去没啥些。但所以说你把这个眼那个那个啥问题，你们电话东西说用不过的，那可是马西巴的没这话噻，我的也的是，这个话的到这边到这送下是，你千万跑都来送下是，那千万跑都这个这可是出去就，那么出去就现在晓得嘛，然后电脑这一下是，现在。城市的这个连接是怕这样子，怕那样子，不是给这些的。那上去说连接所有用嘛东西，怕这样子不这样子，也没有要嘛的事。我听着。
So earlier we talked about some examples of the increasing nature of karma, even if karma that you accumulate is insignificant or small, good or bad, with the passage of time, it can produce huge results. So that's another major aspect of the natural law of karma. And so then the next thing I shall explain are two other major aspects of the natural law of karma. The one is le macheba the macheba. If you don't, do the karma, you will never experience its results, right? That's another aspect. If you don't do it, you don't have to worry about its results. And the another aspect of the karma is that if you have done the karma, accumulated, then in general, its result cannot be wasted. It will produce results. Okay, so those are two additional aspects of the law of karma. So now let me translate the more explanation given all those things. Say if you have not, or we have, let's say, maybe to say you sounds like I'm talking only to. If we, English translation, that comes better. If we have not, like say, accumulated negative karmas, then we will never experience the negative results. Does that make sense? Yeah. And by footnote, the flip side of that, if we have never done positive actions, we will never have positive results either, right? But Geshe didn't say that. That's the flip side of that. My footnote closed. Okay. On the other hand, whatever karmas that we have accumulated, they do not simply go waste. Yeah. Now, this has been explained a little more in detail by Geshe. That in the case of negative karmas that we have already created, accumulated, provided that, or let's say, if we do not purify them, let's say, we let it be there, then they will definitely produce their results however long it takes. The only exception to the rule is that we have accumulated negative karmas and we purified them, right? If we purify them, then they will not produce their results. So provided that it's not purified, negative karmas will produce negative results, even if 100 years later. That's what is said in the Chandra Prabha Paripurcha Sutra, meaning a sutra requested for by a person called the Chandra Prabha, moonlight. Okay? And so in the case of positive actions, provided that these are not destroyed by afflictive emotions such as anger, they will produce their results, isn't it? We create positive karmas, then we get angry, well, there goes. But let's say we do not get angry or no afflictive emotions destroy our positive karmas, however long it takes, 100 years after or more, they will produce their result because their results do not simply go wasted because of the time factor. Okay? So that is another aspect of the karma. And so in the Chandra Prabha Paripurcha Sutra, so it is said that, and then other sutras such as the 100 Karma Sutra, Lejaba, that once we create karmas do not ripen on inanimate objects. They don't ripen on the rocks and the mountains and the trees, They ripen on us. We did it, right? Karmas ripen on animate beings, whoever created them. Yeah? And so it might take 100 years, but they will ripen, on us. And and then also Geshe explained that, in some Brahmin, sutras, Brahmins are the Hindus, right? We're talking about, they talk about karma too. Sometimes they have, I think, some sort of acceptance that karma can be transferred to one another, But Buddha said, no, you cannot transfer karma to each other. You do it and you experience it, right? If other people have done a lot of negativities, never worry that their negativities are ever going to ripen on you because they cannot be transferred, And our karmas are not going to transfer on any other people, right? So, individuals who create karmas have to go through the karmic results. They are not transferable, like some Brahmins think they could be transferred. So Geshe would like to stop there and we welcome your questions. Give me a second to write down my page number and where did we say 45? 45 looks like down. Okay.
Yesterday, I was reading about beings in the hell realms, that they cannot escape from the constant torture of hell until they extinguish the karma that resulted in that particular rebirth. So the question is, don't these beings in the hell realms constantly create more and more negative karma due to their situation? And if that's the case, doesn't it make it extremely difficult for them to get out of the hell realms?
Thank you. That was a very clear question. So I shouldn't have a problem translating for Geshe. Kandi shue di dirish again, chaje thon na rowa again. Kazan ane di chiwatangin digi mecha log di sigi. Ani mige bagi debu tat mige nyawa ya mena la rowa again. Long che ta tunge nyang ba inas rowa again. When le di mazo ke bado ko nyawa di na lagi res rowa again. Ta le di ko zo so na nyawa na targi res rowa again. In there Quran ki ta lo ba is rowa again. Ta moran chiwa ta di nyawa la le nyang shibe negap so ya ani karso gore kin ta nyabe ne da go di ko mango chigo rowa again. Di ko mango chigo yebe so da ngane nyawa le lo ta ya me so rowa again. Le dagi chebe de di ko mo che nyawa ne chu ta de contest ta da di kago shibu men ro so rowa again. Nyabe negap so di ko mango chigo rowa again. O da di ken say na se shi yung ma rowa again.
Really, that 내가 표시 다디 개와 표시 매워져 와다 네가 사야 되어 와서 타가 매워서 저기 신은 다 바로 사지 틀린다 개와 거기 사세 개와 레지 그다음에 양 된도 때때 통고로 어디래 집어서 지를 내가 마사서는 남서 타야 되어 해서 말아요 말이지.
So what Geshe said is this, that as you described it, like while we are in the karma, serving our bad karma there, right? We also happen to create a lot of negativities because of the situation, it's hard to imagine that we will create any positive actions there, right? There could be exception, but it didn't say. So it looks like it's really difficult to get out of it once we, fall into that. But the way we get out is that because we have also created positive karmas. That's the contention, isn't it? So at the time of the death of that, when you die in the hell, if one of your positive karmas that you accumulated previously gets activated because your karma was so powerful, or because by the blessing of the Buddha, whatever conditioning factor, then we are able to get out of the hell, like temporarily. That's what we're saying. Like, even though we are creating a lot of negative karmas while in the hell, it's not that all of those negativities have to ripen there. At the time of the death of that life in the hell, if a positive karmas get activated that you yourself did, then we get released out of the hell temporarily. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe. I was trying to see if Geshe can comment on. So there's I guess positive results and then there's negative results, experiences, I guess. But how about in between? Where there's something that's kind of, I feel certain things not could be mixed, like an accident, right? Someone comes, like I was in an accident with a group of people, that in itself is a negative result. However, everyone got hurt except for me. So it looks like there's some mixture of both positive and negative. And I was trying to see if,
Sure.
Geshe can comment on that.
Sure, thank you. Quran condition this go that tagi kin kana in the le ngia but sung barwa ge. Le ngia ba sidi kan liya kebe debul ya tewa that debu sanga darwa ge. Mi ke be debul ya ngia ba yong the touch rest la wa. So Quran sidi kan liya ta le sange ni ma yan ti boru de wa liya ta le pharma da won de wa ge. Jema de yung go wa so. Di ne ka de kan de she go rest Quran pe sha de wa ge. Quran motor dan dugo wa ge. Motor dunga jab wa ge. Motor dunga jab ka phajong or min so la me de wa ge. In Quran ke me yo mar so wa. Sidi da le di so wa ge. Se da Quran la ne ke me yo mar mi ka she la ne me wa ge. Ka dunga ni jab yo mar wa so. Se da le jema den de ki debu dan wa ge. Ye so khare na sti de she kan de jab wa na so ta.
le jema de yo so da ngol ka le jema de ma wo sha wa da. 편지 조지 세야들 这么说是吧？平时给我东西没给我做啥要，平时没给我东西给我做啥，这我得写我刚才本的时候的，不然不知道这个大的吃不上这个，纯粹家说的平时没给我放的东西给我做，意思可是这当被啥东西都会没来基本东西是吧？我这小伙是吧？我这那。总是平时给他放，总是每个说是没看见的，没那个基督教或者没看见那拿啥什么的，啥去头一光或者另外个那个哪里啊？这平时没给他放的，总是没给我做就，我这个是我的。
Ndi karso again, luma dengi ladies kalchung again.
我们现在在那个地方的，现在也有这样阳性的给他们的，个让下头下去我说，
Tanda ngata motor tabati luma dengi dibu shanti gani mana again. The council nen tabi yamaro again.
这样，
Indi shabu gani mana. Luma
这
dengi
平
ladies
时在。
pere shana kari shabu.
没得，他们是平时都是没给我给人说路的呢。
Ale ta kona kyo ma chebe de ta da dile khasa ngata
Oh,
le
det-
de marwa sange
det-
chebe sa.
oh, det var-
Ale shamba no so. Chidan ke luma dengi le ki pe several ke tu se na.
我们这什么什么
Ma
的
de ke nyum chu ke le sa chi kal ho or dis go ge.
啦，
nyum chu ke le sa na luma dengi le sa sa ro kham ko ma che chu ma ro.
啊，这个的龙马的嘛的，
Ale
龙马的是那大伙还是这个的，我就看你都个这电视开没有了，别这个什么，他家下就是热呢，家下热说是的呢，家下热呢，这来的龙马的也是个啦。
ale.
这说是的，是家下来从大学呢联系也不对，也对，就是其他是家下这的，也都个具体的这样的个多嘛是吧？
Geshe said, I mean, in Buddhist literatures, there is acknowledgement of we might call it like mixed karmas, right? It's not necessarily either or. And so this way, when we talk about different aspects of the karmas, so karma is very complex. And so something like this, let me try if it works in my English, So we talk about, precipitating karmic action and completing karmic action, okay? The Tibetan word, I will use those who are paying attention to this, so the Tibetan words are very precise. Penjajile means precipitating karmic action. So that could be positive or negative, okay? And then there's the Dzogchegile, completing karmic action, that could be positive or negative. So when we think about these two of karma, right, it is possible that the precipitating karmic action is positive and the completing action is positive. That's not mixed, isn't it? It's possible that the precipitating karmic action is positive, but the completing is negative, or precipitating is negative and completing is positive. So therefore, it's mixed, and it can bring mixed results. Yeah. So Geshe-la's example here is that precipitating karmic action is negative, but the completing action is positive. An example is, he said, back in good old days in Tibet, the aristocrats, Tibetan, right, those who have easy life with servants serving them, and he said, so they have pets, and these pets, they get to eat food much better than many other regular Tibetans. And so we would say the example of, right, this pet of the aristocrat, rich aristocrat, is precipitated by negative action, but completed by positive action because they get to eat all the goodies, that regular Tibetans don't get to eat. Now, here's an example of how precipitating karmic action is positive, but completing is negative. This is like how some of our fellow human beings, being born as a human is result of a good action, karmic, but somehow they face so many difficulties in life. They often get sick, there are not days they're healthy, or they live very poverty life, right? They just cannot, right? So this is a case of how mixed result, isn't it? You have your good karmic result, you're a human being, but the completing is negative action because now you have to struggle your life, right? have health issues and yagadi, all of that, right? So they are mixed like that. It's not always clear cut like positive, right? Hopefully that answers. And then also in the karmic presentation, we talk about positive actions, negative actions, and for lack of a better word in English, neutral actions. We call it lumatan. Literally means unspecified actions. I mean, that means nothing to you, but so I have to say neutral. Neutral means that actions which are neither positive nor negative, as has been determined. So there are those there too. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe. We talked earlier about intensity of karmic actions and how that can affect outcomes.
Sure.
And the very negative, intensely negative karmic actions, like we talked about in the book. Are there any examples of intensely positive karmic actions that we can take to achieve intensely positive outcomes?
Sure. Quran kan shwe de dire gen tar so gre ta de gen ging aja jidan che mena ani kewe le kewe debu da mike le debu ti la ro ge ine en kewa khanga lo da le chikwa mar wa chani mar wa ge kwaliya da ji khar so gre le shuk che jung bang bo yor so ro ge sangbol ngemba ne ngembe le shuk che da sangbol le shuk che ro ge ta nga zo sangbol le shuk che bo che ko yo be na ro ge le di shuk che bo cha chi do khar che yo res go ro ge ta ko le di top che bo che ro ge
le top che bo che da dire be ko be shebe nyimi de maji ga gewade na gewa pe yung shu she bo sa mega ne mega be nyimi shu she bo sa tine she ne mega bong du she bo she gewa du shu she bo she ene tine ga so ko ng shuk da jowa de ne jowa ta ko do be shuk she bo she ne ko shuk she yo go do ta de yela me da she ne de wo de mi she ma do.
So Geshe said, yeah, I think what are the things that could sort of play into the intensity of good and bad karmic action is that motivation is one big factor, isn't it? If you are doing something good, if you reflect on the benefits of practice, positive actions, and the disadvantages of negativities, and because of that strong reflection, if we generate strong, powerful motivation to do the positive action or the practice, that can intensify that karma, isn't it? And then also, not only at the motivational level, when we're actually engaging in the action, we do it as best as we can, right? We are really involved with it. It's not like lip service. Lip service karma is only lip service karma, right? So we really mean it, right? Seriously in it. So that will also amplify the karma. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Questions?
Thank you, Geshe, for your precise teaching. My question related to the first question about constantly. So my question is, can we create the both positive karma and negative karma constantly, day and night? That's why we always, in every moment of our life, we experience both negative and negative. And if yes, we constantly created the karma day and night, so we understand day with motivation, best intention, we can create it positive or negative. But how come when we sleeping, we still create it negative or positive?
Oh, I see.
Karma.
Okay.
Yes.
So you use the word constantly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Non-stop.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Condition did this work again, the Tanda. That got to Namju, and that got to Tanda Karskorada. Tang when Nega Rawage. Tanda Tang de Nega Runedi Marawage. Tang de Nega Lia, summertime in another bed. Do you tune it less Sasa sticker or was Rawage? Yavana Mika Rawage. Sizakala that want to carry chairs and up in the Keves led the top chair, you are Shidolia, that Gulon shook chair, or Kewachi did subset check where Miga Chiduka Rawage. Gulon Shamba that the chair is your was Rawage. Then I got never nega less at your was Rawage. She did it carry chair or rest or that you lay when I shook some size segment of Rawage. the chair and you in a man again. Never, never.
예, 내가 되지거든. 그래서 거기 니 로가라고 내가 저 삼놓고 있는데 내가 저 삼놓고 있는데 니데 어디 니 뭐고 내가 삼보유는 니디 내가 누구니 내가 삼은 니디 내가 누구라.
No,
现在 니 내가 야 개샤를 저거라. 그래서 지다 그 삼놓당시는 개에서 유를 못 이야기하고 가고 여러와. 니들 니들 다먹고 여보이나 니 유를 보셔 니가 여와래를 와라.
no.
现在可是那这样你们没办法修啊，在这个里怕怕他们送呢。现在你们情况下，第一个上个当那你们那个来呀，那边你们没办法修脚嘛这些，
No, so.
有点都偷笑话的事对吧？我的古龙上这样子，古龙的个这个咱们就这做了点了了，可是啊。龙马，也没有龙马的刚刚下结果，那个古龙王如果了个。 시간 니 로가라고 교화니 교화도 미거니 미거도 야 롱마도 마도 그래서 그래서 니디야 먼저 레탕보 개샤的这个的
So Geshe said that as based upon Geshe's citing Abhidhammakosha, Treasure of Knowledge by Vasubandhu, and the works of Asanga, that before we fall asleep, right, at night, if we can generate very strong, powerful motivation, and then fall asleep, then the whole period of the sleeping time, it becomes a very positive state of mind, right? And so that's very important for us ordinary people, right? Because we do sleep for many hours, isn't it? For us in the wakeful state, try to do positive continuously for a long period, it's very hard for us, isn't it? There's a lot of interruptions. I try to do this, something. But sleeping, we sleep at least few hours continuously, no interruption there. So therefore, it becomes very important for us that before we fall asleep, that we cultivate a very positive state of mind and then fall asleep, so that however long we sleep, it becomes a very powerful karmic action and practice. Otherwise, as it is stated by Vasubandhu in the Treasure of Knowledge, that depending upon the motivation, when we go to sleep, if our mind is disturbed, we have a very strong negativity, then the whole night is become strong negative karma and bad state of mind, isn't it? Or that our motivation could be just neutral, neither positive nor negative. So it's just like I'm tired to sleep. There's nothing happening, So therefore, as a part of our kind of practice, it's very important that we try to make use of that so many hours of sleeping and develop very strong motivation and fall asleep in that. And Asaka said, why not do that, right? Not only we practice during the day, but sleep at night. We sleep many hours, so why not, right? Make the night very meaningful, right? Question answer.
Thank you. I'm really struggling to figure out how to phrase this. There's a complexity about karma that is rolling around in my head. It seems to me that sometimes the precipitating event to something positive can be negative. Someone experiences violence, so they choose to teach the value of peace or to represent what happens because of violence. It also seems to me we know of many situations where someone is the victim of violence, and so they choose to become a persecutor. They choose to side with what they perceive as positive. It also works the other way around. Sometimes someone preaches peace and becomes the victim of violence, and vice versa, however that would work. I'm struggling to even turn that into a question. I just would like to hear Geshe comment on that, I guess.
Alors, Quran qui quand tu di da Quran tanda kengi sungju yin di le segin di sheda ki kar so gorda nyongzin simbu ro ba ge le la bo le de na ba sa segin di ro ba ge ko so ko ya da jig le ngi ba la so ma ko yo ro ba ge jig mang ko sam dang kwa ki nyongzin chin le sha ro ba ge da Moran ki quand tu shue le at chiwa ran di shida she ma son de Moran ki ka so samju shugun di gen gi di thola rwa ge gen khong ba kare ne sung da na ro na sa rwa ge ta da gi di da dewa do ge penje gi le da jok che le se jo rwa ge penje ke wa da chipson jo rwa morang gi da de gi le ge da dewa yu che mi ka she rwa ge ji ke mi mang be nyap jo tang tu bu nyang rwa ge da mi gi shibu dinde che ba de da lung lang shi yo ma rwa ge da dinde gi ne da pe te mi shaba gi rawang zelen da temba le ya ro ge li gu che gen de yong de so ba ge da penje ro de me de sam gu long de da ge mo ne chan so so du shu bu nyang gu pong de de ro ge ine da le ga che di da mi shaba dinde ma yo tab she chen ro ge be jun she de an ka she dinde chen da ka sa chim che ba cha de ro ge pe na ji da shi me ne nyap je tang ge yune re mi su la nyap je da so so nyap je nyang ba ro ge 냠제 냥바디기 딱 글롱 체네 안도 소소다 침제베 차야를 써봐 시행기 대전을 송접 체야를 써봐 되네 용무도 써봐게 어디 돌긴 공부 가려야 나서 그러게
아니 근데 다 송교시하고 여고시는 송교시는데 누구야
그런 야고 말다 소소 쉬고 냥 버와게 나가로 치나 냠제 쉬고 냥제다 롱랑데 버와게 이네 다 가르쳐 그래 롱랑에 그런데 배제체네 다 침제 못 차는 버와게 시엔소 되네 마야 체도 다 리그 좀 버와게 그래서 어디 레가르디 편제 레차거나 편제 레데 대세 디디고는 꿀롱디 소소 두고 싶으시 냥자 롱랑 버와게 아 디세는 꿀롱디 다 부자당 줘 버와게 꿀롱 야고체 되네 침제 못 차다 내가 내고 치고 어디
폐지하셔야 돼서 거기 당보 차기를 시끄러워 어때 당보 맞아도 될 폐지해서 다들 배 가서 총으로 당보 총자 배야 맞아 제 다들 총자 내가 내가 먹으셔야 될 폐지 내가 말아 좋아리고 당보 차기를 될 시야 꾸야 될 폐지해서 말아
지시리 다 모래기 디 단다 빼디 디도 당보 맞아 쳐야지 다 두고 싶으시냐 민nhập 저 디 수고요 말와게 디 채널 로브냐 야고 실제 팀저 자다 시행기 되는 저거 와 그때 그 편제를 찾은 말
다다 혼자 사네 이네 배 타기를 지는 디네가 다 당보다고 그런 거 편지 shago
어쩌고로
저거래
어디 간데 스테이시 야고는 서 편제 디다 멤버를 들어와게 이네 다 룹제 야고를 쓰고 말아 다 미동달이야 다 라왕 전다 되는 지금 와게
대신에 그거 샤지는 되려 매일 배도 시 되시네 야 그거 샤리 거 겨도라 되셔요
I think the way Geshe sees here, right, I'm trying to make him see clearly what you just said, right? Because these are some of the examples, I think, very practical from my point of view, right? But sometimes these are not in the Buddhist textbooks and they're not so familiar with. It takes time for me to kind of explain what is going on here so that Geshe will understand and then he can comment on it. So the way Geshe says is that, first maybe I should translate how he explained the precipitating karma, right? Precipitating karma is almost like this plan, metaphorically speaking, we have in our head, and then we carry it out, right? When we do whatever those things, that's no more precipitating, but whatever the motivational plan is there, right? So I thought your example works in the sense that somebody who has gone through so much injustice operation, right? That become a motivating factor, and then you become a lawyer or you become an activist fighting for others, right? So in that case, what Geshe says is that, yes, that could be part of the precipitating, but because now you don't want anybody else to suffer the same injustice, this seems like that precipitating has a mixed one, isn't it? There is also thinking about others as well, right? I have already suffered this. Now I want to fight for the social justice so the others don't have it, right? So it looks like that itself precipitating very complex. That's a mixed one. That's how you see it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, about that, the precipitating karma is the same as throwing karma, right?
Same as what?
Throwing.
Oh, yes, yeah, throwing karma.
Okay, so that it doesn't apply in this case at all. It has nothing to do with throwing karma means being thrown in a particular existence, rebirth. We're not talking about that. But a simple example, actually, I don't know if Danielle would agree with that, but would be, let's say somebody is very generous, and generosity is supposed to be a cause of wealth and right. Being wealthy, and yet that person is robbed and swindled out of everything and become a pauper. How is that? How could that be? right? Would that be something that,
Right. So, okay.
yeah,
So how could that be explained, right? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Korangi tanda pige mutin tiwadel jawin again. Dinde layer was again. Tenang anjugi shimbe debolia ta karsor ke longjo shimbo chasigo again. That music one chane pe shidaki ta tongsim chimbo yebacher wa. Koran benjo yabu yebacher again. That what chimba tongdo yebachene chedo again. Yene ta mashibichele mi shabaji kungu kangalo rawa kabli kem again. Keba yina. That the contest neta the contest deshe yabu res go again. But then when it's simba tang tongsim chimbo yor ko special yor again. Yene ta mashibichele shingi kabli yabu da. Says that all the lady contest that less or neta the contest deshe yabu res or. Lende when that's all again.
Dada de lende se dada de sigurda. Sal maji basa digora. Shiza same le sa jora. Le sa shiz ben so je kuma kuku sam kuya mara na. Sal maji basa digora.
Ruwa.
Ta kuku sam kuwi na sa shiza jiga sang
No.
o de dada de ko jibaton ko sam en besha de me resa de ko sal maji basa digora.
그 침바데 살마 좀 샤더스. 그 침바데 살마 쓰고게. 그 동샘 셴.
동샘 지거 어디 그 동거 삼바 저러. 어디 다 살 마시 바시 버다. 그 레사르와. 시 동아라요 말와. 시에서 마시 와주다. 시에서도 조알 라레타 시기로.
តែ코란을 야 이게 그 대세제 가서 코란 살마 좀 이면은 맞아야 좀 메시 맞아 커버리는 그런 것도 거의 잘 왔다. 근데 시작한 게.
네, 다 그거 파기리라 뭐 그러다 레고로 뭐 가르치는 그 살 맛이 맛하고. 다. 그 메디 커버리 잡으면 그 지바 땅에는 다 시다 상에 레르고.
아래 다 디체 야 레션 바지 긴
어디요? 그 파지시보다 그 개월 파지시 버셔야 되고.
다 바지에 소소 레션 바지 긴 쪽으로 왔다.
네.
So in the case of your example, so where he is a very generous person who has resources, wants to give, but unfortunately, somebody cheated him out of that, right? So how do we explain that, right? Is that what we're talking about, right? Situation. So the way Geshe looked at it is that I think in two ways. So number one, in the case of the person himself, right, because of generosity, wanted to give itself, this is a case of what we call sagla majeba. You accumulate the karma, but karma undone. Karma accumulated, but not done. Yeah? So you have the wish to give generosity, but you didn't get to actually give it because you got cheated out, right? This is called, I don't know, in English, it's coming right or not? Sagla, accumulated karma, but not done karma. Let's go with that. Then we can come back, right? But then why he's not able to complete his karma, just like he wanted to wish it, right? Somebody cheated him out. Now that we call is an obstacle. That obstacle could be due to some other karma, right? He or might have done, right, in the past, right? That might have resulted in interfering into that karma. If that karma did not interfere and create the obstacle, then he could have done the accumulated and done karma together. Just that.
My question was very simple. It's not that somebody wished to do. He's actually generous. He's actually not just wishes to be generous. He's sharing. Right. So there is a big difference. So it's do it, right? No, he did. I didn't say he couldn't. He's doing it all the time. He's generous. Yeah. The question is, how come the result of it seems as though the result of generosity is being robbed and becoming a pauper in your life. That's very simple.
So I did not get it complete. That's right. So this is what I this is what first I thought. Okay, now
but I didn't say that. So anyway, the point is that there is no connection between the two things. It appears that there is a connection, but there is no connection. One is the result of generosity will be wealth in a future life, richer existence, but the result of being robbed is from other karma, which is other negative karma. Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Well, I have a question about verse 44. It says that bodhisattvas are born in lotuses in Sukhavati.
Yes.
Okay, but I remember Geshe was saying that not only bodhisattvas are born in Sukhavati, not only bodhisattvas, but in fact, the intention of Buddha Amitabha is for ordinary beings to be reborn in Sukhavati, not bodhisattvas. Now, how is it that an ordinary being who admittedly has accumulated a lot of positive merit could be reborn in Sukhavati, and upon being reborn there, they become immediately bodhisattvas with mark and signs and all that. They become children, like it says here in the verse, they're children of the Sugatas, meaning bodhisattvas. So an ordinary being dies and is reborn in Sukhavati, and all of a sudden they're bodhisattvas. With, the marks and signs of the body and also clairvoyances and all the amazing abilities. How could that be?
Oh, how could it be somebody who, let's say, because the strong power dies and born in Sukhavati, you become bodhisattva?
No. How? Yeah, ordinary being dies and is reborn in Sukhavati for whatever reason. It's merit in this case. And as they're reborn, they're bodhisattvas. Being reborn, they die ordinary being, but they're reborn as bodhisattvas in Sukhavati. Because in Sukhavati, they're, like it says here, they're children of the Sugatas, meaning bodhisattvas.
Okay.
How could an ordinary being die and be reborn as a bodhisattva?
Okay, there's something basically you're reading somewhere else, right? Not here. Right?
As well, but here it's implied because we're talking. He talks about the children of Sugatas.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So they're bodhisattvas, right? So it implies that all the beings there are bodhisattvas.
Quran can show this again. That the lake here was top chamber sab in a wagon. The pedalia changes samba and a meg and a maja chin and a parso or a peme. Ruage, Nimbole Kiavata, and then the Carsor did the and a Carsor again did what the watch and the Tigris la Ruage. Takora share this of the watch and the TSS or Ruage. Then a Kansa Pevachi Ruage. That Melam gave to in a carina, the Koshine, the watch and the Tigre Ruage. Gave in us, Koran, the watch and the Kiavata, what changes of a child or rest Ruage. Changes some Chakansana, Tanda Della love the was Rovage, the watch on the Yoba and Sanjay said, as Rovage. Chazani, Kansa Pevachi, Tanda Shin, the watch on the Kiva, the changes some kind of child or rest again.
The watch and Jesus, changes over what is your money? No, sir. Changes over the watch and Jesus, because the yard drama of the master, you must go. That could be under this one.
No, sir. So what Geshe said is that, being born in a Sukhavati does not necessarily mean that one will automatically become a bodhisattva. So what is understood is that if some by powerful prayer or your karma, you're born there, thereafter you always advance forward. You're not going to fall down. That's the issue, right? Not everybody born in Sukhavati becomes a bodhisattva.
They all appear as bodhisattvas.
Right.
And they are all bodhisattvas.
Quran this go again the Tanda Devachengi, the Melam Nalchi, you in Egypt again. Because you say, and a change somebody send a page again, but change somebody, and shake the was again. I think I by Naso. The watching the Kevin changes some the watching the Yevik Rovage. They get the send the page that them, but someone changes somebody, but the you mean in the Sukhavati prayer? That's what it says? Where did you see that? The description. Right. Quran send the Jeremiah somebody in the chin. Diana can get true matter. Because this somewhere again, Castle, the watching you by changes somebody, this send the page again, your rest of but the watching the kids are going to send the page and change some rest in the dedication going again. Can't sense away. In the watching you by change somebody, get some or send the page can be covered again.
The child said the baby gave me the shower. The watchers are going more judge your
but the watching you by change somebody in send the page you by covered in a man.
So you are. Suju, Suju, Moshe, Suju.
I'll associate you with some more. Associate you with somebody.
Suju, the watch of the Pawasha Marta for Monda, the long Geshe you could open the Washa that Geshe Marva.
But this is a to this again. Associate you again at the watch and the king into the Yorwa again. In a the watch and the Chanju Samba Mongo Yorwa again.
You did it.
Chanju Samba Ina. 아니 쟤네 삐지기 이게 개발내는 되고 있는 만나서 예
알아 저한테
전체
서서
선배이나.
되게 차바스 되게 이게 말해.
아니 이제 the social 교육 전체 선배 열성 배기.
어.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure Gisela understand what we're saying. Stubborn. Maybe I'm on the bad side of it here. So Gisela's like contention is this, right? That everybody born in the Sukhavati Pure Land doesn't necessarily have to be bodhisattvas. Yeah. He said there are so many ordinary beings because of the powerful prayers and practice, they are born there. But the benefit of being there is that hereafter you advance further, you're not going to fall down, right? So then I said, depending on what you said, I said, so is it possible that all the bodhisattvas in the Sukhavati have marks and majors, right? The major marks and the marks, right? Geshe said, not necessarily, because they are ordinary bodhisattvas too, right, in there. So Geshe-la's content is very different from what you're saying here, right? That's what I was saying, right? Yeah. After all that clarification. Yeah, one more, yes, one more.
Yeah, this is more of a follow-up
Yeah.
Concept than a follow-up question. I often, to my non-Buddhist friends, I refer to His Holiness transforming the negativity, the many negativities of the injustice that has happened to Tibet, to the Tibetan people, transforming that and bringing teaching to the world. I mean, I'm one of tens of millions of people whose ears were opened by his teaching to the world rather than teaching only to the Tibetan people. I just wanted to clarify that that's an example of what I'm talking about. I can't imagine the negative events that would have triggered that, yet I see that it happened and I see the positives.
그 경에 먼저 경을 조사 세죠 와게 어디 삼을 당겨 있어와 아 저도 뭐라는 삼을 뒤 따기 땅 되고 해서 다니 먼저 렌데는 신나 가르쳐야 되게 다 별로 경에 두자 싶을 중으로 와게 이네 다디 경전에 겨울에 출로 패토네 다 잠블이 용을야 다베 티기 땅 시대다 더 좀 쉬우지 다 지린 게로 와게 어딘데 어디 다 맞아 내려 와게 경에 조사 세죠 와게 이 거긴 직순의 영어로 경에 조사 세죠 와게
네, 땡이 조사한테 그래다. 땡이 조사해서 그 용야들 누가 이말라. 그저 당도 그 누가 마다세 야사 조르해는 땡이 조사해야 되잖아.
땡한테 남자끼리 로정난기 가르사견디 책으로 해서 땡에 람데 켜버서
어제 람지와서 누가 내 나사서 뭐 민도 가지 다들 디바 타거지 그래도 배 슈 배용 코랑 지금 리기래선 이래서 어다도 그 뒤둥한테 매어서 인상도 나서 그 겨모사도
So what Geshe wants to say is that, this is, as His Holiness himself said often, this is like what tragedy happened to Tibet and that he was able to come out. It's like a blessing in disguise, isn't it? And so it's largely because, what His Holiness has been able to do is not many people have been able to do. So he was able to, like this could be related to the mind training or thought transformation practice of transforming the adverse conditions into a favorable condition. That's what he succeeded in doing. That's what. All right, we will stop there today. Oh my God, yes, I have a prayer request. I must. And send it again. Send Isam Farshuk to make them again. So I am going to make the announcement and the request together. We have a prayer request for Isam Farshuk, who passed away recently, and we can also think about others who need prayer. And the announcement I have is on April 21st, Sunday, at 2 p.m., we will do the Yamantaka self-empowerment. So we will not have teaching on that Sunday, April 21st Sunday, because at 2 we have to be here. It's a long self-initiation thing. Yeah, so that's the announcement. So let's do the Avalokiteshvara 6-syllable mantra of compassion for Isam Farshuk and others. cha dong guo lun ju wei ye wo dong jian dong ge wa shang bei shang ye dong kang la kang du de la de dong zhen ba jian re xie la chang zi de om mani bian me hong om mani om mani bian me hong li ge wan di ye yu do da jian re se wan ru ju do wa ji ya ma de wa di san ge ba show we have this page colored booklet page 3 Lord Yazoo, Yudon, Garden, Kesa, Pombe, Chido, Mimba, Temba, Zinla, Wando, Teacher, Daniel, Chogun, Chola, Sowa, de page 5. Mawa Dame, Gwingen, Doma, de Kari, Joso, Yinda, Jangren, Jawa, Iwa, Yapse, Tangson, Tinzi, Mabe, Shiba. 并且且为因果这个谢谢内观上主电流，龙道他们这北北北月节，对上家族很多小的，对上广大这是中北是用作有。龙的这些那个白天白，头天看的大波小的，到那后面这把南大关、电大周围、平地中围。顺着因为前面前来的街上对接等到晓得，其实老们都在没浪的街上对接电当上面，说说都多几多弄吧，其他没别等跟轮着说page 9。Ramjan Shingi Wombo Zeba Zozo Namje Yiyun Rama So Chozo Cheyi Hazo Tamje Taden Mishi Chogi Mojo Tubden Jidan Rosan Gyawa Yi Shiro Tenpa Zembe Beyun Tade Deja Jongge Xinyen Cho Yangri Nije Wombo Shabden Jiden Sumgun Chana Benmin Jun Tenpe Zawa Soso Tawa 当大吹真养大浪巴也，落上也得别多晓得，最终家人农dân养百些，上中南州上镇准备，公中些拉送出这边的，天边马大全部晓得，前边东马国外不着的，这边流浪私域我们这。准备等等那些长者，给着新年全部晓得说，前面朗读这些在的准备啥啥年做的，上班地下讲给一些兄弟新年全部晓得，台上做了这位点点点，民众大学上面事情，那边这边点点别笑话，真正新年全部。说说要我世界勤劳的，昨天当真送面前的，大家拉上大白天白，其他门白定规人都说，想着心着人不接，马也不能解决，结果娘把没把样，空来空，结果说东年大话人不接，马也不能解决。结果娘把没把样，空来空。也我来说，啥些北京就是蛮多长，为了那些年的年报，上届新多没得为我。如果能到行了，就把说抗战让为国外新港的判断的我马路中，现在是往天津要。下边西点半多天就这一档古着热闹。 你养大呀，民家娃滚到养大拉满的，对面却也别拉龙居，杀的蓝姐云的拉不着，能多些强给国宝牛多肉。